All right, next up we're going to look at solving equations using the quadratic formula. What the quadratic formula is it's a formula, a set way of solving this equation up top, a standard form quadratic equation. That is, when we have something in this form up top where it says something times x squared plus something times x plus just a number by itself plus c equals 0, something in the standard form, we can use this formula, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a, that formula will solve that equation. This formula every time will solve this equation as long as it's in this form. So let's look at an example. All right, so this is one example of a quadratic equation that can be solved, like any other, by the quadratic formula. 2x squared plus 14x plus 12 equals 0. It still needs to equal 0 because that's standard form. That's the form it needs to be in. All right, so this is solved. The solutions to it are x equals negative b, and b in this case is 14, plus or minus, that's where we're going to get our two solutions from, the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. All divided by 2 times a. In this case, a again is 2. All right. Now from here, it's really just a matter of plugging that into your calculator. The plus or minus, one time you're going to type it in to get the plus solution. The other time you're going to type it in with it as a minus to get the other solution. So let's just go through this. All right, so we have x equals negative 14 plus or minus, can leave it there for now, the square root of 14 squared. 14 squared is 196, I think, minus 4 times 2 times 12, which is 8 times 12, which is 96. All divided by 2 times 2 is 4. And again, we can continue to just use order of operations here. We've got a root, which is the same step as exponents or parentheses. So we'll do x equals negative 14 plus or minus the square root of 196 minus 96 is 100, all divided by 4. Continue to just simplify. X equals negative 14 plus or minus the square root of 100 is 10, all over 4. Now here is where I would probably, if I hadn't done it before, split this into my two solutions, my plus and my minus. So I have in one case x equals negative 14 plus 10 all over 4. And in my other case, x equals negative 14 minus 10 all over 4. And again, that's because this was the plus or minus sign right up here. Okay, both of those can then just be simplified. Negative 14 plus 10 is negative 4. Divided by 4 gets us that x equals negative 1. And negative 14 minus 10 is negative 24. Divided by 4 gets us x equals negative 6. And this actually tells us these two whole number solutions, which sometimes happens. It tells us that this expression up top was actually factorable. If we worked back, taken out a greatest common factor, we could have factored this expression and solved it that way. But we didn't have to. We had the quadratic formula, and it still works. All right, so an equation like this. We can't immediately just pull out the first three numbers and hope to plug them in. Again, this quadratic formula works only when the equation is in that standard form, when it's the standard quadratic expression equal to 0. That's where this formula can actually be used. But that doesn't mean we can't use it to solve this equation. We just need to mess with the equation a bit and get it looking the way we want it to, which is going to involve solving the equation, moving all of our terms over the left-hand side so that we have 0 only left on the right-hand side. And that will get us 5x squared minus 4x squared is just x squared. Moving the 6x over involves subtracting it, so we have negative 6x. And we add 5 to both sides, so we get plus 5 equals 0. And again, we look at this, maybe it's factorable, maybe not. We really don't have to worry about it right now. We can just directly jump to plugging in. I mean, it's a strategy that you don't have to employ a whole lot of thinking. I mean, once you get it to this form, it's just plugging in your three numbers into the right spots. X equals negative b. Well, b is, in this case, negative 6. So we're at negative 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared. Again, b is negative 6, so negative 6 squared minus 4ac. A in this case, I mean, there's no number written in front of x squared, which means it's 1, right? That's the coefficient that can just sort of be dropped off because 1 times anything is just that number. So we usually don't write it. So 4 times 1 times c in this case is positive 5. And then all of this will be divided by 2 times a, and again, a is 1, so 2 times 1. All right, and from there, it's just simplification, just following order of operations, there we go, to get our solution. So negative 6 is just positive 6, plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared, that's 36. So negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. Minus 4 times 1 times 5 is 20. And again, all divided by 2. Can simplify this further. Not like that. And get x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 16, all divided by 2. X equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 16 is 4. And notice we're taking, the plus or minus is already in there. We're not looking to take the positive and negative square root. That would just cancel things out. Just the regular square root of 16 is 4. All divided by 2. Which will finally leave us with 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And those are our two solutions. And again, it tells us that this expression up here was factorable. X squared minus 6x plus 5 was factorable. That's why we got two whole number solutions, two integer solutions rather. And again, I don't mind if you're comfortable enough with your calculator that you want to just type in this step all in one step, and twice, once for the positive and once for the negative. Fine, that's fine. You can do that all in the calculator. You don't. This is not a test for me of order of operations, but just make sure you're plugging in accurately and you're comfortable with the calculator if you're solving it in that way. All right, finally, I'm going to look at one that is already in standard form, but maybe is not going to be factorable and see what we can do with it. So we're still just going to start the same way. This is plugging in these numbers, and we're just plugging in the numbers. Notice the right-hand side of the quadratic formula just has numbers, A, B, and C. We're solving for the variable here. So we're going to plug in, it's negative b, and b in this case is negative 12, plus or minus the square root of b squared, and again, b is negative 12, and notice again, I'm plugging it in parentheses. It's the whole negative 12 is what b is, and negative 12 is the thing that has to be squared. Minus 4ac, a is 7, and c is negative 3. All divided by 2a. And again, this is using your calculator from here, more or less. But your calculator is going to give you something, well, we'll see. So we have x equals negative 12 is positive 12, plus or minus the square root of, and I should probably have sort of indicated this is a different step. Negative 12 squared is 144. Minus 4 times 7 times negative 3 is going to be a positive number, because negative 4 times negative 3 gets you 12. 12 times 7 is 84. Let's go with that. Plus 84, all over 2a, which I forgot to plug in the previous step. A was, of course, 7. So, all over 14. All right, and this is ugly. This is still an ugly number. We can try to simplify it a little bit more and get x equals 12 plus or minus the square root of 144 plus 84. We can at least simplify that and get 228. But as it turns out, it's not going to simplify much more than that. So we can plug in 228, the square root of 228 into our calculator. But it doesn't break down very well. I mean, I'm just looking at it real quick too. That's 3 is going to come out of there. Yeah, it's not going to simplify very easily. So we can really just feel comfortable leaving it as the square root of 228. Now, I might want to simplify this a little bit further in that I could, if I wanted to, write this as 12/14 plus or minus the square root of 228 over 14. And I would really just be doing that because 12/14 as a fraction could simplify to 6/7. But at that point, I'm just being finicky. This answer right here is perfectly fine. It's acceptable. Again, if you wanted to plug it into a calculator and get a decimal approximation, go for it. But this is a final answer in that form right there. All right.